The creators of Hypixel, the popular Minecraft minigame server, dropped the trailer for Hytale, the game that they've been working on for the past 2 years, and it looks incredible. In today's video we're going to have two parts, one where we overlook the game as a more informative section, and then a more in-depth part where we analyze the concept art, the screenshots, dissect the trailer, and so on. So let's get right into the overlook. So I assume a lot of you might have never heard of Hytale until now, similar to me. I got to know about the game yesterday when my friend Ville Olof told me about it, and then today the trailer and the website was launched with all sorts of information about this gem of a game. So what is Hytale? Embark on a journey of adventure and creativity. Hytale combines the scope of a sandbox with the depth of a role-playing game, immersing players in a procedurally generated world with teetering towers and deep dungeons promise rich rewards. Hytale supports everything from block-by-block construction to scripting of minigame creations, delivered using easy-to-use and powerful tools. So that is the main description for the game. We're now gonna check out the trailer. Here we go. Alright, so we start off with some fully animated animals with amazing interaction. We then get to see an overlook of farming, which looks amazing. We also get smithing and animals such as pets and resource animals. There's woodcutting, mining, and even crafting. You can also see that they have a fully dynamic lighting system and amazing biomes. Here is some gameplay of some fighting, and here we see building. We can also see that there are mounts in the game, which is a bit of a World of Warcraft feel to it. There's fishing and diving. And here comes the dungeoning. Some more gameplay. And of course the riches. Alright, that trailer is absolutely epic, but we're gonna go into more details about that in the in-depth part. Now we're gonna move over to the player interface. So to begin with, we have a screenshot of the avatar UI. Here we can see a bunch of different customizations that we have in the game, like pants, shirts, faces, beards, hats, face wear, ears, and even a little smiley emote. So I'm not sure what that is about, but you can see there's a ton to customize, so you will be completely free to customize your avatar however you like, which is just really cool. So yeah, that's the character creator or my avatar screen. And next up we have a screenshot of the map UI in the game, and here we can see a bunch of different things. For example, the little waypoints on the map. Here we have stuff like story dungeons, world gate, and point of interest. We also have players, friends, and waypoints that you can set up. If you look to the right, there is place marker, remove marker, marker settings, and zoom in and out. And then in the bottom we can see there's actually an objective, defeat the corrupt golem, and you can see on the map there's also an icon for the golem. We then have a screenshot of the player UI, the inventory, the crafting, and so on. You can see there's a bunch of crafting recipes up here with different swords you can create. We can see iron sword at the moment with the wood stick, light leather, and iron bar. And then in the inventory we can see different swords, tools, workbench, armor, pots, and so on. And then on the left side we can see Kylos, which is this avatar that's using the screen right now. You can see there are different wears like hats, shirts, gloves, and pants, and rings and stuff like that. Next up we have a crafting diagram concept art, and this is what this looks like. You can basically craft tools, I assume, and you can customize them maybe. And there also seems to be one for armor and range weapons, which is really cool. This is like the armory of the game. We then have a tooltip concept art, which is basically how the tooltips will work in the game. We have a Trorok sword, soldier chestplate, a fire sword, and a demonic axe. We can also see that different tools in the game have different rarities like common, rare, epic, and legendary. So if we now look closer on one of the weapon tooltips, we can actually see the DPS on each weapon. This is basically damage per second, and it can range differently depending on rarity. We can also see that different weapons have different abilities, like the fire sword has the ability to have a chance of setting enemies on fire. We can also see if the weapon is a two-handed sword or a one-handed sword. And that is it for the UI screenshots that we have at the moment. Alright, so now we're gonna go over some of the main FAQ questions that you can find on their website. Number 1. When is Hytale coming out? They are yet to confirm the release date of the game because they want to get a lot of player feedback with the release trailer, info, and so on. This is because they want to release a game that meets expectations. Number 2. What platforms will Hytale be on? So currently when it's being developed, they've only confirmed PC and Mac, and server hosting will be available on Linux. But they have stated that right now during development they might add more platforms, but they're not sure about that. Number 3. Will Hytale be free to play or paid? So they haven't decided yet on their business model completely since it's still being finalized, but when they have finished it we will get to know. Number 4. Will this replace Hypixel? Can we move our stats from Hypixel, and what's different from this and Hypixel? So it will not replace Hypixel, and they will keep this old server supported still. You won't be able to move any stats over since it's a completely different game and a new engine and everything like that. And the difference is quite big because Hytale is made with a new engine built from the ground up to have support for minigames, which includes different stuff like anti-cheat, client optimizations, and so on. Conclusion. So Hytale in its grandest description is a game created for all players, adventurer, minigame players, and creators. The game will have a wide aspect of features ranging from minigames, story mode, and so on, with a lot of focus on the creative mind, the player who loves creating, exploring, crafting, similar to Minecraft. There are quite a lot of features and it's going to be a treat for sure. Right, and that is it for the overlook part. We're now gonna move into the in-depth part, which is gonna be the bigger part. Alright, so we're gonna start off by going back to the trailer. Now, most of the content in there is pretty clear, and whatever else isn't, we will go over when we get to it. However, I want to show you some fun little Easter eggs that are hid in the trailer, and to begin with, in the underwater scene, we can see a reference to Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. We have these two clownfishes, one is big and one is small, and then we have a blue tang, and these are the fish featured in both the movies. Later on in the trailer we can also see a lot of different YouTubers being referenced. To begin with, we have a character that looks like OMG Chad, and then we have a character that is Dan TDM, who's in 2 parts of the trailer. We also have the Yogs cast, we have Stampy Longhead, and Preston Place. There are most likely more YouTubers in there and other relevant characters, but I only recognize these, so let me know in the comments down below if you found any others. We will now head over to the creature page on the Hytale website. Here we get to know about different creatures in the game, ranging from domestic animals to insane monsters. First of all, we have the Queebigs. These are small gremlin/rabbit-like creatures that is an NPC faction, which is a form of a society. They have their own culture, habits, block sets, and a part in the world of Hytales. They are very friendly and will become one of your first allies in the game. Here is a picture of a Quebec home. We can tell that they live in underground tree houses, which is also confirmed by concept art. As you can see, their houses are dug through the trees and then into the roots, where they then have different rooms. The Quebecs also have a lot of different weapons and tools that are visible in this concept art, such as the rustic sling, a razor spear, firefly lantern, and so on. The bigger Quebecs also wear leaf armor. In the in-game screenshot we can also see their life cycles, from different little tiny seedlings to elder Quebecs. And when they reach the final stage, they actually turn into a tree that the next generation drops from. Here's a clear image of their life cycle. This is also, as mentioned on the site, part of the game itself and not just a story, so the Quebecs will actually have this function in game. Next up we have Troroks, which seems to be a mix of orcs and trolls. As stated on the site, the Trorks are formidable enemies that come in many shapes and sizes. In this concept art, we can see that there are a lot of different varieties of Trorks, which is because the NPCs in Hytale are modular. Each Trork has a different pattern of behavior, and it is reflected in the way they look. When facing a band of Trorks, you will have to keep this in mind since each Trork has a different style of fighting, and you will have to meet this to defeat them. The Trorks are used as an example here for other enemies that we will meet in game as well, so there are a lot of other ones that we will see. In the trailer of the game we can also see some gameplay of a Trork fighting the player. We can also see that the player is using a shield to defend against the Trork's battle axe. We then have a section about the animals in the game. This ranges from wild ones to domestic ones and pets. Most animals seem to be good for anything, either if you want to hunt them or domesticate them. The developers are also working on a system that will let animals interact with each other, similar to the fox hunting the rabbit in the trailer. For the example of the wild animals, they use saber-toothed tigers that hunt in packs. In this screenshot we can see the saber-toothed tigers surrounding a group of impalas. They state the importance of understanding the animal's behavior if you want to set up to hunt them or just to avoid them. We also have a screenshot of chickens, and this is used as an example for a domestic animal in the game, but they also mention the way the animals behave very intuitively. The baby chickens, for example, will actually follow their mom around. Creating homes for these animals is also very important since that will improve the resources. If you make a chicken coop, for example, that will allow the chickens to create more eggs. We then have the most dangerous creatures of the game, the monsters. Along the sandbox creatures in Hytale, they've also created bosses and challenges that await in dungeons, towers, and similar areas. We can see in the first screenshot a terrifying head monster running towards the player. In this concept art that we now see, we can see different giant spiders that will most likely be some of the bigger and scarier monsters that you will have to defeat. In the concept art of the game, we can also find some other big creatures that will most likely go into this category. Such things as the Viren Spawn and the Void Dragon. We also have a screenshot of an Ice Crystal Dragon with a group of humans trying to defeat it. And then we also have a boss creature walking towards the players. And in the last screenshot we can see a big Yeti that could also be seen in the trailer. This creature seemed to be able to fling big chunks of blocks that will most likely do a lot of damage. In the trailer we can also see a group of fighting a Diver monster in a dungeon. We still have a ton of information to be dropped about the NPCs and creatures in Hytale, but they left us with these cute GIFs of cute critters, so let's take a look. Here is a cat, a pigeon, a danger noodle, a snake, and a cute little quebec. Alright, we're now gonna move over to some wallpapers that the creators of Hytale has provided on their website. The first one is of some grasslands with a mountain, a little sword, and a tree with little berries on top, which looks really nice. Look at the scenery of this. We can also see a little tower in the middle of the screenshot, which is most likely one of the boss fights. And yeah, it looks fantastic. Of course, each word is going to be randomly generated, but you can kind of get ahead of what they have in mind here, which is really awesome. The next wallpaper is of a swampland with a little swamp creature, a swamp house, and a Gaia statue. We're gonna talk a bit more about Gaia in later during the concept art section, but we also seem to have a little secret mountain, maybe a golem or something in the grass. I might just be seeing things here, but look at that, that looks like a golem to me. The next screenshot is of the Sandlands, or the Howling Sands most likely. And as we can tell, in the middle of the screenshot there's a huge tower with like bees or something surrounding it, and then we have a player walking towards that. So this is probably another dungeon with a different theme. It's gonna be crazy. Alright, in this next wallpaper we can see 3 players, I would assume, that seem to have different classes. One is like a mage, one is a warrior with a big battle axe, and one is maybe a paladin or something. The next screenshot is of a Turok holding a battle axe as well as a meat club. And the final screenshot is of some sort of an elemental monster, I would assume. Maybe a battle or maybe an ally, who knows. This looks really cool though. Right, we're now gonna go into the concept art section of the website, where most of the concept art is super interesting. The first concept art that we have is the Alterverses. These are planet-looking dimensions, worlds, or universes with different names and themes on them. I'm not really sure if this will be part of the game, but it's really interesting. Next up we have some iconograph research, and here we have some iconograph research. Basically the developers have been creating runes, icons, and stuff like that with different meanings for the game. Next up we have Gaia and the elemental essences, and this is what I talked about earlier. So this is one of the very most interesting concept arts in the game, because Gaia seems to be this godlike creatures in the game. She has 5 ponytails with 5 different elements, and each society and faction has their own version of Gaia. The humans has a stone statue, the Fians has a clay one, and the Quebecs has a wooden one. There also seems to be giant Gaia statues around the world, similar to what we saw in the wallpaper earlier. And next up we have Tessa and Kairos, which seems to be the NPCs of Orbis in the universe. And basically Orbis, I would guess, is kind of like Earth, as we can see in the Ultraverse concept art. And we can see that they're both officers of Orbis because of the armor down here, and Kairos has an alternate style. Next up we have weapon research number 1, and here we can get a great idea of what kind of weapons we have in the game. For example, we have these two-handed weapons right here, the sword, we have the Torko Sheath Cleaver, the Ethereal Dagger, the Toothy Barred Club, and the Ruined Runic Sword. We also have two-handed staffs, as well as one-handed wands and daggers. And then they've also set up some shapes right there that will give us an idea of what kind of weapons they have in the game. We also have weapon research number 2, which shows us shields, clubs, maces and stuff like that, and there's just so much to learn here. We can also see some weapons transforming and stuff like that. I'm not too sure, maybe there's like details on it that they break down or something, but there seems to be a ton of different varieties of different weapons, and this is really exciting. There's also a little goblin guy standing there. I'm not sure what that is about, but interesting. We then have the back gear ideas. So keep in mind, these are ideas, not confirmed items, but we can see leather backpacks, jetpacks, shields, diving gear, back propeller, mechanical wings, turtle carapace, faction totems, parachute, quivers, weapons, and short, long, and hooded capes. Now 3 of these are actually in the trailer itself. The diving device, the back propeller, and the quivers are all in this trailer, as you can see here. So yeah, those are the back gear ideas, really cool. Next up we have a concept art of the Firan, and these are really cute fluffy little animal creatures that live in the howling sands. Now these actually have a bit of a history with the Scarab soldiers, which are these ant looking creatures that they've been enslaved by these before. Now in this concept art you can also see a shaman version of the Firan and a little kid Firan. You can also see hide tents and bone cabins that they live in. Now this concept art also holds a key of their history. You can see the freedom bracelets, which are commonly used by the Firans as a reminder of their past being slaves to the Scarab soldiers. Now on this you have the wind symbol, which also means freedom. Now the previous concept art ties right into the next one, and this is Holding Sands, the human outpost concept art. So basically the Holding Sands seems to be the sand biome of the game, and here we have a human outpost, which looks really cool. This also ties right into the next one, which is a Holding Sands Scarab architecture. So this is most likely where the Scarab soldiers live or lived, and this looks really cool. It's like an ant nest basically that goes underground. You can see there's a prison, cave entrance, a sand palace, and a Siguras. I'm not too sure what that is, but look at all of this, you can read a bit about it. It's really, really interesting. Now the Scarab has their very own rune, and their houses basically seems to be a bit of a history. I'm not too sure if they still exist or not, but they seem to be like most of their stuff is ruined, so we'll see about that in the game, I guess. We then dive deep into the water concept art, and first of all we have the sea creatures. Here we can see a far ocean kraken, a shark, and some crabs. We then have the water life concept art, and here we have some manowars, morar eel, and a piranha. And finally for the water tab we have the Kraken, the deep ocean Kraken, which looks really, really cool and kind of creepy. It's most likely a boss creature. We'll then get over to the tropical jungle section, and to begin with we have the tropical jungle creatures, and here we have some really interesting animals like the cave rex, the Dimetrodon, the prehistoric chicken, the raptor, and the macaque. They look amazing. These are also tied right together with the tropical jungle research, and it seems like the jungles in the game will be underground, similar to what we've seen in the Terraria with the Plantaria caves and stuff like that. But look at this, we have like plants and dinosaurs and everything is living underground. It kind of reminds me of Ice Age, if you've seen that movie where there's a dragon and stuff underground. It looks really sick though, and there's so many like different layers here that you can see in the concept art, and it's really interesting. We then have some monster concept art. To begin with we have the skeleton sketches. Here we can see 3 different skeleton types: the Dead Adventurer, the Swamp Undead, and the Undead Praetorian. This is connected right with the skeleton gears research, where we have 5 different skeleton types. We have the archer in zone 1, the wizard in zone 1, the sand warrior in zone 2, the frozen warrior in zone 3, and the soldier in zone 4. We also have void eye research, which looks like these flying eye creatures with tentacles and, you know, teeth and stuff, and they look really grotesque and creepy. So these are gonna be very scary to meet in game. This next concept art actually answers my question I had earlier. The Scarax might actually be in the game, because you can see there are concept art as well as model looking creatures here of the Scarax. We can see their eggs, their larvas, their tank, worker, broodmother, loctus, and warriors. There are a ton of super crazy little Scarax here, and you can see the human for a size comparison. I guess they are huge, and they are, wow, I'm gonna run from these for sure. So yeah, these are the Scarax. Alright, well, we have actually gone over most of the concept art so far. I have a few more to show you, but I'm not going to talk about these more like in depth like I did with the other ones, because most of these are more general, they're kind of easy to understand, and they already have stuff that we already talked about, like creatures and stuff like that. So I'm just going to play them through a bit so you can pause and look at them if you want to. Here they are. And there we are. I hope you all enjoyed today's video where we talk about Hytale. I am really excited for this game, as you might understand, since I made this full video on it where we went through some overlook of the game as well as some in-depth about the content that we have. Now there is a ton of stuff we can still talk about, but I don't want to make this video too long. I might make another part of this if you enjoyed it. There's stuff like the corruption that I haven't talked about, which looks really weird, but I don't know too much about it just yet. And then we have the circles, stuff like that. I'm not too sure. We'll look into it and maybe make another video on it. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of my future videos. And seriously, thank you so much for watching through all the way here. I know this was a really long video, and yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Bye.
Top hat blocks, dead bird, and even Ethan Gamer. That's the homies. When they get together, it's wild. Now watch them take another win. I'm talking Island Royale. Duck, duck, Mr. Duck. Subscribe now.